Co-op Tower, Worcester Province, Local Organizing Council, Energy Efficiency Crew. Woo! What a concise name we have.
Where are they? They come to us?
It says hold on to ground.
Well, we didn't really have time to go through every little last question.
No, let's share the main things.
What organizations are trying to define green for your industry? Well, obviously the list is right above. The HERS standard leads. I mean, that's sort of setting the standard for measuring, you know, how your performance is. I mean, if you meet their standards, then that's the level of excellence for the kind of work that you're doing. How do you define green for your industry? We talked about a number of things. Choice of materials, if there is indeed a choice. We just had a discussion about the evolution of foam products. Eric's too young to remember the UFI scare from years ago when they're pumping in foam that had urea formaldehyde. It off-gassed, and that was a big mess. And so obviously they have evolved away from that, and the current products are a lot greener and safer. But every generation gets better in terms of the materials they're making it out of. And again, we talked earlier about the cellulose being recycled newsprint. So you want to reduce, by your choice of materials, you want to reduce worker hazards, but also long-term impact on your clients. So those two considerations. And then there are other things like choice of transportation to and from the job, using the most efficient means of transportation. Eric brought up the possibility of a diesel truck that would use biodiesel with recycled fuel.
So feedback from other people, what caught your attention most, or do you have suggestions on how this energy efficiency crew could promote themselves as truly green or sustainable?
I think other thing that is important that we were talking about travel, like a lot of companies come to Worcester from outside Worcester to do the job. So if you say, we're local, we live here, we don't come from Worcester, Mass, or Boston.
Right. We were also talking about, I brought up a lot of companies now are using those little Ford, I think they call it Ford Transit. It's like a little van, a little minivan. All the companies have got them, and you see their names plastered on the sides. And my only question is, how efficient are they? It would be nice if, it seems like a really good size for a small business that you throw all your tools in the back and whatever, and all sorts of businesses are using them. It's just a question of, are they really, really energy efficient? If they were, that would make so much sense that they're as popular as they are. Unique if they were.
Any other ideas for messaging for the energy efficiency crew? Okay, moving on. Diggers.
So an organization that we that I know of that markets himself as green is Hydrograss Technologies in Oxford. They hydroseed, which is like a pump truck that pumps this green chemically thing, and it becomes grass in a week. And we call that greenwashing because they really aren't that great. And then there are a couple other groups that we sort of do landscaping, but we don't really know if, and they kind of try to call green, but we're not sure if it's greenwashing or not.
Okay, so how about for your industry?
So then, so we define green in our industry as permaculture based because it's more in line with the Earth's natural processes, whereas other types of landscaping are more based on the human-centric model. And then also we use minimal equipment, and we do not use chemicals. some ways that we can measure these values are, you know, sort of promoting the number of different permaculture installs that we've done, and you know, showing pictures of the different options for people, and then also marketing really marketing the fact that we have a total ban on chemicals. You know, we refuse to, and if a customer asks us to, then we'll refer them to someone else or just try to work on another option. And then the fourth one.
We can also point to sites that we've done that have lots of beautiful beneficial insects, like dragonflies and bees, and productive of lots of food, beautiful places to relax, environment.
Okay, so permaculture and chemical-free or organic, right? Those are the main buzz. Is there any feedback from what you heard?
Well, I'm just curious, within the permaculture community, has anyone done any studies to sort of weigh the differential between standard landscaping businesses and permaculture businesses? And if so, I mean, if you had some hard numbers, that would be something that you would push as, you know, hey, look, this is you know, we can tell you that this is better for you, but here are the hard numbers. They studied the industry, and you know, I don't know if that information is available.
Yeah,
It'd be the type of thing.
Since you're on landscape and stuff like that, how do y'all keep it green and still control, say, like the weeds and dandelions and stuff like that without using chemicals?
So the permaculture people have done a lot of work figuring out how nature does it
Naturally.
keeping things in balance.
So like avoiding dandelions and things like that, you know, which
Just
grows
let it
like
grow.
weeds. Just let it grow.
Well, it's a very, there's a lot of work that's been done to figure out what plants go with what plants to,
But also educating people away from the stereotypic, you know, monoculture, green lawn with nothing else growing there. You know, it's a matter of reorienting people's priorities.
So you have to go from pest control to like a holistic view and stuff like that.
Okay.
We have to move on soon. Any last thought?
Yeah, actually, someone told me that there's certain types of flowers that will repel bad insects, like to have those beetles and stuff like that.
And you
So
know,
instead of using chemicals, plants and those, and then the flowers that go next to those.
All right.
Jamil, do you have anything on your business that you
Well,
want to share?
I was with the greenhouse thing, but if the greenhouse project was still in full motion, compost, using and keeping our soil organically, keeping it organic, avoiding like things like miracle grow and chemicals to produce a large yield of vegetables or plants. Avoid that by using compost, natural sunlight, solar power, things of that nature.
Drop it like it's hot sauce.
So this is kind of like a new idea for us. We haven't really thought about this. But we don't think anything greenwashes for our industry. We tried to look it up, but I couldn't find anything. But we do, I mean, we're using local and organic ingredients, but we're also thinking about the packaging, and that maybe we could like possibly buy recycled glass bottles. If there's like maybe a company or something, I don't know how that works. And then also like the plastic for the seal, we have to put the seal and like burn it to package it. If we could buy some sort of recycled plastic, and then if we did do that, compare first of all, we have to look at pricing and see if like we're able to do that, but then also like comparing the amounts of materials. Like if we use recycled materials, how would it be affecting like our community and stuff like that? Like, and then being able to advertise that maybe on our bottles, and like when we pitch it to customers, we pitch it to we want to sell wholesale and stuff like that. Does anybody else have any ideas for us? Like,
Well, just some feedback. I think the main selling point maybe product, like your product packaging, but where you get your
Yeah.
where you source your vegetables from is your main selling point. It's right here. We grow it. We know where it comes from. You know, it's local. It's organic. You know, those kind of things. That you're part of the whole process, I think, is a really good selling point, and is as green as it gets. You know, you're growing the vegetables. You're making the product. Any other feedback for Drop It Like It's Hot Sauce? Ideas of how they can market that specifically, how they can show, measure, anything like that?
Maybe they like have like a recycle thing that people can come and get the new sauce and bring their old bottle.
Oh, yeah.
So you can like count who comes back and do that, and also returns the bottles. It would be like a little bit better than recycling. Like if they bring it to you, you give them like a coupon or a discount. I don't know.
Future focus?
So we focus on environmental justice projects, and we train youth by helping them to be EJ, like advocate for environmental justice in the community, at school, and we are also planning to use solar chargers for our equipment, and we think that when we be sharing Stone Soup office, we will be like recycling over there. We'll be sharing offices with other partner of Stone Soup, and we will be also using energy efficiency renewable at Stone Soup. Yeah. So
Honestly, we
it's
struggled a
difficult,
little bit.
yeah.
Like in the video industry, there's nothing regulating it. No one's really promoting themselves as like the green video company or
Yeah.
anything. So in our practices a little bit, we thought of some places, but it's really who we work with, and we help promote stories of environmental justice, right? But people have other ideas of ways we could really.
So, do you know anything about the equipment that you use, and is there some equipment that's more green than other equipment?
Could look into that.
You could get one of those little solar panel chargers to charge your cameras and stuff.
Mm-hmm. We are planning to do something.
Oh, sorry.
I think some of the computer equipment that any computer-based business uses, a lot of that is toxic when you dispose of it. So like looking into e-waste and how to safely dispose of I mean that's our computers are like one of the most toxic products out there. So looking into how to recycle those when they're at the end of their useful life and dispose of them safely.
And we'll be producing DVDs and CDs and things for people, and so we might use, less packaging or do more like electronic deliveries instead of highly packaged stuff. Thanks. Global Village?
We were trying to get on Google Hangouts, Trina. So it's also like farming is apparently like the green industry, right? But like there's a lot of misinformation about the labeling that goes along with green. It's great if something's organic, but if it's shipped from Ecuador, is that green?
Yeah, like we talked a lot about like why we would not want to be organic, like label organic and get the certification, because it's like as toxic in some cases as regular business. Like, what it used to be organic is not organic anymore. Mm-hmm. So like we talked about like how like to teach people that being beyond organic and like the practices are just like as clean and safe, but like also like we want to make a stand on the certification that we don't want government to be the ones telling us what to do and how to do it, and they stamp it, like kind of like that conscious of like not just environmental justice sense in our organization, but in general.
So the question is how to promote the handshake organic kind of work that you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any feedback for Global Village?
So you're saying you don't want to put any label in nurture organic?
Like it
Well,
just
like
it costs a lot of money. It's very hard to get.
You guys aren't certified organic, right?
and we don't want to. Like
Yeah.
I like we.
Handshake Organic is really just us. It's
Oh.
the same, like.
It's the National Organic Farmers Association.
Oh, you're not gonna open.
Are you guys gonna be selling vegetables?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you will like have to do marketing to sell, to like bring
Yeah.
customers. So maybe you could market and just say that like, you know, just really be specific with your practices.
I mean, I think
You can
that's
just say
like what
organic
we
grown
want.
though, right?
You can't use the word organic if you're not certified organic.
What?
You cannot.
You can't.
You cannot. You can't. Like it's like you
Like-
just waiting for a soup.
Yeah.
Organic was a thing.
No,
I
it's
thought you
like,
could say organically grown.
no, they can like there's like series like
Is it like? Yeah, you can say like.
you could say like
We
you don't use pesticides. You don't like you can use a lot of the descriptors that have to be organic, but like
You cannot say
you
that.
cannot you can't. Yeah, there's like
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
Say we haven't gone.
and
through
maybe
the
no one will
certification
ever bother
process.
you. Like if you're especially if you're really small, but as you grow,
Well, you could call it handshake organic, right?
no, you can't use the word organic.
You cannot
Use
use
the word.
No.
You
You
can
can
say
spell it
we are
backwards.
not certified.
We can say we're not.
Yeah.
Not
Can
organic.
you say we're better than organic?
We cannot say we're better than.
I like the beyond organic.
Beyond organic.
You're
A lot of
so
people
over
use
organic.
that, but it's like.
I really don't
They
believe
just-
that.
You could
I
say
have
you're
to-
more,
I
you could say
can
you're better
send
than the
you-
certified
yeah.
folks.
Yeah, like this is like yeah.
But then you'd have to prove it.
Because I mean, you think like there's a farm that's down the road that's gone through all of the certification process, and you're saying like we're beyond organic, and you're the direct competitor. They're gonna there's like legislation on like being able to use the word organic.
Okay.
But anyway,
But we like, we talk about like, for example, we were talking about delivery. That is one thing that a lot of people are using now, like delivering of the CSA. But if we can add to the delivery like a compost pickup, like we can also do a service that would help us, but it's also like help the farmers.
Great. Soul chariots.
Well, since we're bike taxis, like environmental conscious is sort of our thing. And like it's in our communication with passengers, it's in our sales pitch basically, the fact that like we are replacing a car and we're a zero emissions form of transportation. So when we were thinking about our industry, like we decided to take a slightly broader view and just look at like urban transportation more generally and not just pedicab companies. So we were thinking about us versus like Zipcar was one thing we thought of, and like public transit was another thing we thought of. And I guess like the measure for them is whether or not they're green or whether it's just greenwashing would be like, are they taking cars off the road? Like we are with deliveries and bike taxi. And for Zipcar, kind of, but not really, because people are still driving to do their things. They're taking cars out of like storage spaces, like they're taking cars off of being parked in side streets and putting them in shareable little lots. But they're not really replacing like using an engine to do stuff and therefore polluting. And RIPTA, like or the buses, like a lot of them will say like clean air hybrid or like, diesel clean, whatever. But I think it's more of, yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's kind of an oxymoron. But, and, public transit can take cars off the road, but it just depends on like how the system is organized in general. So we think they are doing a lot of greenwashing too. Whereas we're legit and we try to communicate that to people as much as we can.
Any feedback for Soul Charity? Can you measure how much of an impact you have and promote that somehow?
You guys should have a mile.
Zero emissions.
Yeah, like a number of miles with zero gas
Yeah,
per.
like-
We replace this many car rides.
Yeah, like the mass some of the transit have, like, you can sign on their website and you say how many miles you have biked, and it tells you what the impact, like, is on carbon emission, like, minus. Maybe it's something like that. Yeah.
Right, that's a good example of the why does it matter question. Because a lot of people who might visit your website might not be sure why cars matter, but to break it down further to say, like, you know, what, like tons of exhaust fumes saved or something like that, you know, climate gases averted or like, you know, squirrels' lives saved or something like that, you know.
You could probably still take out squirrels.
Squirrel, right, yeah, maybe not a deer.
For us, the interesting thing is our competitor's name is Eco Pedicab, so I don't think we put a lot of energy into doing the eco or green thing, because that was like
Right.
the other person's pitch. So, but yes, but it is still important for us to highlight. So I guess figuring out how to do that without, like, while feeling like we're making our own identity in that.
You have a competitor.
In Providence?
Yeah.
Wow.
When?
That's
They started before us. They started before us.
Maybe the way that you like
They just go
promote
to next
how
steps.
green you are. So instead of saying that, you know, you're green, very like vaguely kind of like, you know, maybe you could have an idea. It's kind of a stupid idea, but like have like a miles per gallon like thing, and maybe it could be like you guys keep track of how many miles you do, and that's how, like, you know, so it could be like a ticking thing on your
Gallon of
website,
juice.
like this many miles per 0 gallons, or like I guess mathematically it'd be infinity miles per gallon.
It's a sticker on it. So something like that demonstrates.
A little plate that makes people.
I think they should
Great.
challenge their competitors to a grudge match. Have like
Tug of
chariot
war.
racers. Yeah. Have like chariot racers.
Great. Any last thoughts on greening? Great. Let's move on to the next.